Welcome, everybody. My name is Tara Lutman-Achayak, and this interview is brought to you by the Creative Impact Studio. This is a private Facebook group for creative entrepreneurs who want to launch and grow profitable businesses. I am going to put a link to join the group somewhere in the vicinity of this video. So if you are a creative entrepreneur and you want to launch or have launched your business and you are looking for tips and support for how to grow that, then I'm going to give you the link so that you can join. I do these member features so that you can see, if you're inside the group, who are your colleagues, who are your peers, who's in this group with you, what are they doing, what are their stories, what are their businesses. And if you're outside the group watching this video, so you can see who's in the Creative Impact Studio, what is there for you, what can you learn, how can you benefit from it, how can you network with other people. So depending on where you're watching this interview, have those sets of eyes and ears on as you watch the conversation that I'm about to have with my friend Ellen. So if you don't know me, my name is Tara Lutman-Achayak. I'm the founder and facilitator of the Creative Impact Studio. I'm a certified coach, and I help creative entrepreneurs with strategy to help them launch and grow their creative businesses. I have worked with photographers, filmmakers, authors, artists, art promoters, designers, and my clients do things like double and triple the income that they're making in their business. They win awards for their films. They write best-selling books. So it's a great pleasure for me to work with creative people and be the facilitator in the Creative Impact Studio where these people are hanging out. I do other things with my clients, like help them put together their prices and their packages, work on their business model, their business plan, strategy, marketing, sales, and really keeping their heads in the game. And I'm pleased today to be talking to my friend Ellen Koronet. Am I saying your last name right, Ellen?
Yes, you are.
Okay. And Ellen is the principal of LNK Creative. Am I saying that right, or do you say Link Creative?
No, LNK.
LNK.
Get it? You get it?
I do get it. Yeah. And LNK Creative is a full-service social science center that designs and hosts quizzes, forms, and surveys to build trust and match customers with brands. And I've really simplified that for your description, Ellen. I mean, there's a lot going on there at LNK Creative. I mean, I'm going to ask you more about that so we can understand exactly what you do and exactly how you help people. But I also want to mention that you're also a published author, you're a speaker, you're a creativity facilitator, and you're the designer of the Inner Muse and Mentor System, which is a creative problem solving. It comes with, it's a deck of cards, and you and I have done this together, but it also comes with a creative problem solving guidebook. So I'm going to ask you about all those things, but is there anything that you would like to add about you that I missed, Ellen, or correct anything that I've said?
No. That was a really great introduction. I don't know who wrote that first sentence, but that's exactly what I do.
Well, you wrote it, Ellen. You wrote it.
Yes. Well, it was perfect.
So, okay,
Yeah.
so let's go. So, in Creative Impact Studio, it's about creative businesses, women who own creative businesses. And so I want to go a little bit into your background because I know you didn't start out with this business. I think you started out in a corporate job, right?
I did.
Yeah. So how did you transition from your corporate job to LNK Creative?
And actually, I'll go back even further than that. I went to art school for 6 months.
Okay. Before your corporate job?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
A long time ago. Yeah. And after about 6 months of trying to create in a very stifling environment, I said, I can't, this is not for me. I can't do this. So because art school is very rigorous, and especially this was in the early 80s, in the late 70s. So it just, I think it's much better now. I have a child who actually just graduated with a degree in fine arts with magna cum laude and everything. So I think it's much now. Yeah, I wouldn't do it, but anyway. So then I found my way into social science, which is, statistical and very structured, but it's a way of looking at the way people interact and behave. And I ended up doing focus group moderating, which is extremely creative. It's really kind of an acting job. And at the same time, trying to pull out from people what they're really feeling and thinking and what the emotions are behind decisions that they think they're making with their heads, but they're really not.
Interesting.
So
I
that's
studied
how I got in.
psychology, so I come from a social science background too. And for me, it was all about behavior. Why do people do what they do? What motivates them? So I get what you're saying. Very interesting. Yeah. Okay, so
Right.
focus
So
groups.
that's
So
how I
art
got into.
school, social science, focus groups. And was
Right.
that your
So that's how I
corporate
got.
job?
Yes,
Yeah.
that's how I
Okay.
got into. That's how I got into marketing research as a science. My father was a professor of political science and actually took us to Turkey several times. So
Yeah, we have that
that
connection
was
too.
one of the connections that we had at the beginning. But and so in the corporate world, I was an account executive. I was a vice president. I was, busy selling multi-millions of dollars worth of research to corporations. And what I really loved about it was even with the quantitative studies that we were doing, there's a lot of creativity in there. And there's a lot of, breaking out of the mold and really understanding what the groups of people are and what's motivating them and what they have in common. So when I broke out into my own business eventually, it's just sort of morphed into both the creativity training and facilitation and helping people to problem solve with more than just their logical brain,
Mm-hmm.
and then at the same time creating these quizzes and surveys that help people connect on a deeper level. So that's how it sort of morphed into what it is.
So go back. Okay, I get the connection. Go back to why, where were you like in your career, this high powered executive selling these um, services, um, and what was it that you said, okay, I'm done with this, and what did you say, I'm done with this, I'm going to go start my own business, or what was the kind of the catalyst for the shift for you?
Um, well, it was actually 9/11 was a big part of it. I was sitting in my office and this happened and it just shook me to the core. I had a family, I have two kids and they were very young at the time. And I just felt like the world needs something besides me sitting in an office selling, millions of dollars worth of research to corporations that really aren't even using it the way I feel they should. I mean, what kept me I was in the pharmaceutical industry, and what kept me there for so long was that I felt that we need people who are heart-centered in the corporate world. And we need, to keep that voice, to keep the voice of, the patients and the nurses and the doctors and all the people who are on the ground doing really good work for people who need it. That's what kept me there for so long. But after this big crisis, I just felt like I can't do it this way anymore. I can't, because in the corporate world, you're always bowing to somebody else's expectation of what you're trying to produce and what you're trying to do and how you're trying to do it. And, your hands are tied. And I felt I could do much more on my own. So it started as I'm out of here, and I tried to find another job, and I did it for maybe 4 years after that, in and out. I started my own business. I stopped. I started. I stopped. I went to 2 other companies and did that remotely, and I think that's the reason neither one of those worked. I wasn't able to really integrate with either corporation. So they were doing good work, but it was not a good match.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so then I went back out on my own and haven't looked back since.
Awesome. So tell us more about LNK Creative. Tell us more about the work that you do for your clients now?
All right. So the mainstream is creating quizzes, and what that is not just these, like, what kind of Disney princess are you, but very focused on what my client's business is all about. So imagine you're my client, you're sitting there, you've got this brilliant work that you're doing, really amazing work, and you want to showcase that, you want to get it out to a bigger world than the one you're already connected with. So, and allow people to share that and spread the word, whether they're working with you or not. Because somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody is going to say, whoa, that's exactly what I need right now. So the quizzes are a way of deep diving into what it is that my clients do and what's so amazing about it. And in the way that we then begin to craft questions and descriptions or, assessments that the quiz taker ends up getting right away, there's a certain amount of trust and insight and sharing that happens between the person who's taking the quiz and the business owner. So that's the mainstream of what I do. I really help people understand who their clients are, who their potential clients are, and what it is that they can offer without giving away all of their services just in the quiz. So that's the main part.
So it sounds like in order to be able to do that, the heart-centered piece that you're talking about, that you get really into the heart of your client's business to understand what it is they do and who they do that for, who's the right client for them, and who's not. I think that's also something that comes out of this, right? And how ready
Absolutely.
They are to move forward in signing on with your client, depending on what comes out of the quiz or the survey that they take. Yeah.
Yeah, perfectly put. Yes, several of my supposedly quiz clients have become. I ended up writing for them because in the proposal that I put together, they said, "Whoa, nobody's ever described me that way. That's amazing. Let's just do more of that."
Yeah,
so
go really deep with them.
Right, just in the conversation, I begin to understand what it is that's motivating them, and it's the focus group moderator. I can't help but to find what it is that's behind the words that you're using.
Cool, Ellen. Cool. So can you share, so what you've shared is kind of, high level, general, this is what I do. Can you give us a snapshot of what that looks like? So a case study or an example of something that you did with a client so we can, kind of connect the dots and see, okay, what does that look like in real life when it plays out?
Right. So the easiest example is it's not a coaching service; it's a product. However, the people behind this company are very heart-centered, and they want to fix the world. They want to change the world. They want to connect people, and they offer a lot on their website, just in the way of articles and so on and so forth. And what they produce is a shield that you can wear or put in a room to help shift the electromagnetic radiation that we're getting from all these devices that we use. And so it's a sort of a protection against the energy, the real ultramagnetic, whatever it is, waves that are coming at us. But at the same time, they also help people to deal with negative energy from other people. So it's kind of touchy-feely. Yeah, it's kind of woo-woo. It's also very scientific. It's perfect. I mean, I really love it. I think they have a great product. And so in the past 2 years, I've created 2 very large quizzes for them. These are not the short little, I'm done. These are, but I've made a lot of those too. But I love this as an example because one of them is about their product. So how much electromagnetic radiation are you getting from all these devices in your life, and what level of exposure do you have? And you get a nice, quick, beautiful photo, like a gauge that shows, are you low, medium, high? And then a recommendation. Here's what you can do about it. And then links to all those articles that they've written. And, so it's a resource. Even if people don't end up buying their product, they've engaged in a really deep way. Yeah. So I really love that. And that was their first quiz. So it's a product, match. And it immediately cut down on the number of phone calls they had to have with potential. It cut down on the number of mismatched products. So instead of sending somebody a level 2, now they were sending them a level 3 right at the beginning, and it's the right product, and the person was happy right away. So they've significantly smoothed out their process so it's more profitable, and everyone's happy. Yeah, just from the one.
That's awesome. That's a great example. That's a great example. That's very cool, Ellen.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay.
And then
go ahead.
The second one I'll do really quick is more what a coach would do, and it was about highly sensitive people, HSP, which is a buzzword that's going around, and people who consider themselves to be empaths are in that scale. Sure. But what my client figured out is that there's actually 6 subtypes. So. And she figured that out because of the questions I was asking her. So as we were developing, she wanted a simple HSP quiz. And I said, well, hold on a minute. You're talking about this and that and this and that. Can you subdivide that for me? And she said, well, holy crap. Yes, I can. In fact, there are 6. And so you get 6 scores when you take that quiz, which is so much deeper than most of these. And any HSP quiz I've ever taken always says I'm highly sensitive. I'm way off the chart. But in fact, I'm medium overall, and I'm only high on 3 of the 6 types. And that makes so much more sense. So they've also grown their customer base because they're reaching people with something that's very insightful and helpful.
Interesting.
Right. So I wanted to mention that.
Yeah. And I see what you mean by going deep. In these things, going deeper by asking more questions, and the service that's providing to your clients is very interesting, Ellen. Okay. So talk about your inner muse and mentor system.
Okay. So that's sort of my hobby. That's my hobby. That's my, that's the fun stuff. I mean, I thought that was going to be my mainstream business. I really tried to make it work. But in order to make a creativity facilitation business work, you really have to go after the corporate clients because that's where the income is. And it's just not. I don't want to go back and do that full time. Sure. I don't mind I have some corporate clients. I love working with corporations. But I just didn't want to go out there and do the selling and build the infrastructure to do that. So the system grew out of working with authors who I'm in a couple of anthologies and with an organization called Heal My Voice, which is amazing. And I was working with my co-authors, and we were all sort of stuck. And I did an inner focus group process with about 50 or 75 people over about maybe 6 months, and then use that as real research to understand what was happening inside of us. And I discovered 16 pairs of archetypal sort of energies that are constantly trying to find a balance. So you have, these passionate muses, that's the muse side, the sort of feminine side. And then on that same scale, there's a quality that balances it that I call a mentor. And the mentors are much more practical and logical and, trying to get us where we're going. They're trying to keep us moving forward and safe and protected. And what happens is if we focus too much on that logical, practical side, we get stuck. It's trying to move us, but you get stuck because there's nothing empowering you. There's nothing passionate about it. And you get just caught up in this, I got to get this done because I have to get this done just because I have to get this done, and there's nothing behind that.
Yeah.
And so you need to flip that over. And on the other side, if you go too much into the, oh my God, I'm so impassioned, I just love this, this is magical, this is amazing, your feet are no longer on the ground, and paradoxically, you end up getting really depressed.
Oh, interesting.
So,
Interesting.
right. So the emotional, where you're reaching for happy, ends up making you sad if you do too much of it. And the practical, where you're reaching for movement, ends up making you stuck if you do too much of it. So you need to just go back and forth.
Interesting. Okay, I see. I was wondering how these things are connected in your business, and I see that it's all coming out of your own background as a researcher, as someone who's going into these questions, but they are really separate, two separate things for you. But very
Right. Yes. It's very hard for me to explain to people, why I'm a creativity facilitator, why I'm speaking at a creativity conference,
yeah.
why I published the deck, I do workshops, et cetera, et cetera. And when I do one of those in a networking setting, people are always coming up to me afterwards saying, wait, how can I work with you? And it's like, well, feel free to hire me one-on-one for that, but that's not my mainstream.
Sure.
It's really separate.
Sure.
So
I did an interview with Kelly Hevel, and that is posted on my YouTube channel, and it's also posted in the Creative Impact Studio. And she talks about, she's also I don't know if she would identify as a creativity facilitator, but she in her work is very satisfied in her full-time job, but she needed a creative outlet. She needed something to balance what she was doing in her job, which is very goal-oriented, very structured. And so, kind of what I hear from you is that, okay, here's my kind of my bread and butter, my full-time job, and here's this other thing that's a hobby, but is also very much part of me. And so having, all these parts represented in your life sounds like a very healthy balance to have, not just the mentor, not just the muse, to have them both kind of counterbalancing.
Yeah, my dream is that, it's very integrated for me. When I'm working on a quiz, I'm using my own system. and I work with them. I often give them a deck, or, we work together with that whole idea. But my dream is that somehow it'll become more integrated for the world to see as well.
Well, you focus on that.
We'll see.
That'll play out. That's what I know to be true.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you don't always know how, and all of a sudden it makes sense and it all comes together. So Ellen, right. A few more questions for you. What do you love about being a business owner?
I love being able to work when I'm ready, sit back when I'm not. I love being able to reach out to the people that I really want to work with, and sort of sit back and let the missiles fly past me when I don't. I love being accessible, and I love the freedom that comes with it.
Cool. Yeah, freedom I think is the number one word that I hear, is that word. Yeah. What do you not love so much?
I think you hear this all the time too, but just the slow build towards a steady stream. I have almost never had an unhappy client. The only one was where I was attempting to go corporate again and do something, she basically wanted, it was in the mainstream of focus group moderating, and she wanted me to give her a technique that I had designed, and I refused to do that. So that was very unpleasant. But without those kinds of jobs, it is really hard. You can have, lots and lots of very happy clients, but it still doesn't pay the bills. I'm frustrated with being able to do such an amazing job for so many people and still not have the security that comes with that financially.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's one of the trade-offs, right? Is hustling for your own bread and butter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, well, Ellen, my next question for you is for anybody outside of the Creative Impact Studio who's wondering what is in this group for them. Can you talk about what you like about the group, what you get out of it, and things that have helped you in your journey?
Yes. Okay. Yeah. No, you have, first of all, you're doing a really great job of getting conversations going, of engaging us, of teaching us. So there's always something to glean. If you just pop in for a short time, whoa, I hadn't thought about it that way. It's just you're constantly bringing us new ideas and approaches and keeping it very fresh. And then the other people who are drawn in are just amazing. It's really cool. It's just really a wonderful community. And I mean, I haven't been extremely engaged. Like, I'm not constantly posting. I don't make it to many of your, sessions. I can go back and look at them afterwards when I want to, which I do. But so I haven't really made it my own community, but that's okay. It's like I'm sort of on the periphery, but it's still very beautiful. It just seems like a really strong gathering of really smart and impassioned people, which, as you know, I love that balance. So
Right.
that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. So in the group, I have some kind of event on Wednesdays. It's either a live training or a live community discussion. And if I don't show up live, I give a recorded interview with a guest expert, another member, or a recorded training that I do. So I always make sure to be giving something in the group every week that people can go and take away and apply and think about and process. And the live events especially are an opportunity for people to come together and network, to share their questions and connect with one another, introduce themselves, give announcements, share what's going on in their businesses. So, and that's all there. It's all recorded, and I have available a reference library that people can go back and look at all the trainings. And when you join the group, you get access to that reference library. So like you said, if you can't be jumping in all the time, you can go in there and reference things that I've delivered and offered in the past. So. Well, I'm glad to hear for you, Ellen, that's what you enjoy in the group. And for you now, for anyone who's watching this and anyone who wants to connect with you, what is the best way for them to do that?
My name, which is Ellen Koronet, ELLEN KORONET. Some people want to say it like the French. So when you asked, was that right? It's like, yeah. It sure was, because it's not Koronet.
Yeah.
But Ellen Koronet at the letters LNK creative.com.
Cool. So
LNK sounds like my name, yep. But it's just the letters and then creative.com. Or on Facebook or on LinkedIn. I'm, there as my name, so it's usually easy to find me.
And I have your links, so I'll make sure that those get in the vicinity of this post too, so people can connect with you there.
Yes.
And if
yes, and
go ahead.
I offer a free half an hour or 45 minutes where we can chat and you can kind of get an idea of maybe what it is that you might need. And usually people get a lot out of that. They already feel like they got their money's worth when they didn't pay me anything. and then after that, I will do a 10% discount for anybody working with me who found me through you.
Cool.
So.
Very cool. Thanks, Ellen. Well, I'm going to kind of bring us to a close here and thank you for being available to be featured as one of the members of our community. And if you're welcome. And if you're watching this interview and you would like to join the Creative Impact Studio, I will make sure that you have a link to do that. Join the group, and if you would like to be featured, get yourself in the member directory, and I will be contacting you for an interview. So with that, I'm going to sign off, as always, with much love. Thanks again, Ellen, and see you out there.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.